Here is another cool video of the top 10 best scenes from Shogun Volume 5 from OKTV today. Shogun is definitely one of the most watched series in 2024. If you love our videos, kindly drop a thumbs up and a comment on what you think of these scenes. Also hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification because you are our superhero. Let's proceed. 1. Buntaro returns from the dead. Buntaro and a massive army led by Toranaga arrives in Ajiro. When Buntaro returns from the dead, Mariko and Toranaga discuss it. Toranaga claims that Buntaro escaped Kiyama and Ishido's attack because he had assistance from a group of Ronin. Toranaga receives Mariko's meticulous notes on John's work and informs her that she will not be moving out of John's house to live with Buntaro. Buntaro will instead take up residence at John's home. Mariko will be able to help John and her husband in this way. It is clear that Toranaga is not informed of the latest events in Mariko and John's relationship, therefore he is unable to predict what would happen in that home. 2. Toranaga upset. Toranaga is mostly focused on Nagakado's choice to murder Jozen. In an attempt to please his father, Nagakado kills a pheasant, but Toranaga hands it to Mariko and instructs her to give it to John as a thank you gift. Next, Toranaga goes on to correct Nagakado for his ignorance. Even though he wasn't there, he urges his son to exercise caution when it comes to encouraging violence since he is aware that Nagakado's actions are a result of Yabashiga and Omi. 3. Traditional Japanese cuisine and meals. Fuji begins setting up distinct areas for the preparation of traditional Japanese cuisine and meals for the Anjin. However, Buntaro's presence cuts that short. After saying some critical things about John and Fuji, Buntaro announces that he will return for supper. 4. Toranaga's successor. In order to proceed with Toranaga's impeachment, the Regents' Council convenes to determine Toranaga's successor. However, their inability to agree on whether the council should be more country or more Christian appears to be tearing him apart. Even worse, Ishido ends up with Jozen's head, which forces him to intensify his preparations to eliminate Toranaga and his clan. Yabashiga is confronted by Toranaga about Jozen's fate. Saying he was the one who persuaded Nagakado, Yabashiga attempts to put Omi under the bus because he believes it would keep him in Toranaga's good graces. 5. Omi and Hiro Kanagawa. By designating Omi as the commander of the Anjin's artillery regiment, Toranaga deceives Yabashiga. Yabashiga is definitely enraged by this. Omi declares that he is prepared to resign from his role as the head of Anjin's artillery division. Although Omi is that army's formal commander, according to Yabashiga, Yabashiga is really in command of everything. Then, in order to let Ishido know that Yabashiga is still on his side, he sends Igarashi, that would be Hiro Kanagawa, in case you haven't guessed, to Osaka. You should look at his acting credits to see what a legend he is. 6. Miraji, the most valuable samurai. Meeting Miraji, the most valuable samurai in Toranaga's collection, actual name Tonomoto Akanao, Toranaga informs him that Yabashiga is looking for a spy. According to Toranaga, Miraji only has to toss a dummy in Yabashiga's direction to trick him into thinking the spy he's been looking for has been apprehended. 7. Blackthorne and Mariko breakup. John rushes to Mariko, who is sitting alone in a remote part of the forest, rather than fulfilling Fuji's request to dispose of the rotting pheasant. John is informed by Mariko that they shouldn't be seen together anymore. If Mariko wants to get rid of Buntaro, John instructs her to do it. He is told a story by Mariko about the swords he is carrying. She claims that in order to maintain Fuji's feeling of honor for her father, her grandpa purchased the swords from an inebriated warrior, not because her father died a hero. Mariko makes a connection between this story of ignorance and the reality that she is refusing to give Buntaro what he truly desires, her hatred. John makes the point that Mariko is being wounded in the end and shouldn't be making herself go through this in order to exact revenge on Buntaro. That man is a moron, and he won't get Mariko's clever kind of discipline. And what good is it if he doesn't realize that he is being punished? Mariko warns John to stay away from her and will not stop doing what she is doing, even if it means being a little more overt in her disdain of Buntaro.
You're disgust for him if you want to be free of that.
She knows nothing and we say nothing. Merits. Dad?
Oh, forgive me, but you'll never be free of this prison.
8. Ajiro slain. When John gets home, he discovers that Ajiro has been slain for having touched the pheasant. John said that it was illegal to eat pheasant. It seems that Ajiro put his life in danger since the smell of the dead bird was unbearable, which was sufficient justification for his murder. It was Fuji who gave the order. She begs John to also murder her for this reason. All of this disgusts John, who urges Fuji and her crew to leave him before he makes a snap decision. 9. Toranaga's spy is dead. Miragi's painting of Ajiro as the spy appears to have persuaded Yabashige that Toranaga's spy has died. I'm not quite sure what this specific storyline is about. Is Ajiro dead because he touched the pheasant, or did Miragi kill him to keep up the pretense that Toranaga's spy is dead and subsequently kill him for defying John's orders? In either case, I believe that John learns a valuable lesson about caution from Ajiro's death, which occurs off-screen, incidentally, regardless of the cause. He has been demeaning the Japanese thus far for taking everything so literally. But as he watches a violent earthquake take so many lives at the end of Shogun Episode 5, he comes to the realization that life is incredibly short and shouldn't be squandered carelessly. He needs to make sure that his words and deeds have some substance. 10. Toranaga loses Blackthorne's sword in the landslide. John had intended to go from Japan with his troops, but he chooses to stay when the earthquake strengthens his relationship with Toranaga. In order to give Toranaga a sense of respect, something that was lacking due to Fuji's grandfather's deception, he even lends him his swords, which Toranaga loses in the landslide. Speaking of Fuji, despite her injuries, she makes it through the earthquake. When she sees that John is no longer upset with him, she appears content. How much John is developing as a character is demonstrated by a brief image of him rearranging Ajiro's rock garden.
Yo だと聞いておりまする。またもや虎長につい。気は終わったと思ってよいのじゃな。